Good morning, Liz. It's Mr. Photon here. How you doing this morning?
I've been up since 5 o'clock.
I've also been up since 5 o'clock, but I feel good because I just watched the sunrise. So we're going to do a listener request probe today on dreams. So I think this will be an interesting one. And I have this wonderful man on my screen, Dr. Robert Monroe. Well, actually, I don't think he's a doctor, Robert Monroe. And we did a probe, actually, Mr. Reality did a probe a while back on the Monroe Institute. And it was an incredible probe. I suggest people go back and listen to that too. But we'd like to bring Robert in today as our special guest to help answer questions. So can we pull Robert in?
He's so happy to be here. Just before we start hammering him with questions, guys, can you please do us a favor? Can you make sure you are subscribed to the Consciousness Transformation Technique channel? We are trying our best here to get monetized on YouTube. I don't care about the watch hour thing. What we want to do the live shows directly on YouTube. And we can't do it unless we're monetized. And so if you guys would help us out, I'll put the other channel that I have in the comments. Click on it, subscribe. We're just a few short from hitting that 1,000 number. And consciousness transformation techniques will change your life anyway. So if you're not there, you're not promoting your own healing, and you need to. All right. So Robert Monroe is here.
Okay. So we're going to start with some of our listener questions here. So the first question is, how can we better remember our dreams? Can we ask Robert?
How can we better remember our dreams? Okay, so the best way to remember your dreams is to train yourself to get to a certain wavelength and go no further in your sleep. Because we dreamed. Is it because we dream on a certain wavelength? Yes. No, I didn't know that. Did you? Wow.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, like if we're talking about alpha waves, beta waves, delta waves, there's a specific. I can't remember off the top of my head, but when you're in REM sleep, rapid eye movement, you're generally should be in that specific wave. So okay, so is there a way to do that? Like, for instance, the Monroe Institute has many meditations that you can, purchase, and you do them before bed. Is there like a specific one? Are you trying to get into like beta before bed or delta?
Beta before bed. You want to get into delta.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay, here's another question. Sure.
Sorry. How come sometimes our dreams feel like they've been going on for hours and hours and hours, and then sometimes our dreams feel like we've only dreamt for like a couple of minutes? Do we have different times or limits, or why is that? It depends how long you can hold that brainwave state for. Wow. Okay. So when we're having really short dreams, when we wake up and we say we've only had a short dream, is that as long as the longest point that we were in that? Yes. And if we had a very long dream, we would have been in that dreamwave state longer. That brainwave state.
Okay, so that you took my question, Liz.
Did I?
Because I wanted to expand on that further. So I want to talk about time dilation in dreams. So what do I mean by that? I want to talk about I've had dreams before that seemed like I've lived not lifetimes, but like, a very, very long period of time inside this dream. And I know for sure, obviously, I couldn't have been dreaming for that long because I've woken up and before the dream and woken up after the dream. And so I know that it wasn't a long dream at all. And same with like in like naps and stuff like that, where I know it's a short amount of time. So Okay, is it possible to dream for like, where it seems like you would have spent, a day, a whole day in a dream, but then you only really dreamed for a few minutes?
Is it possible where you spend the whole day in a dream, but you only dream for a few minutes? No, it's
Oh,
not,
okay.
but it depends. It really depends on the brainwave state, right? So sometimes when you have a nap, you can hit that brainwave state. Is it easier to hit that brainwave state with a nap? Yes, it's much easier. Actually, that makes sense to me.
Okay. All right. So how about let's go back to what we were talking about, the first question, because I didn't get all my questions in. How do we remember our dreams? Are there certain things that limit us to dreaming, like substances? Like I've heard that when you smoke cannabis, and so specifically THC, close to bedtime, that will inhibit your ability to dream. Is that correct? Or remember your dreams?
Yes, that is correct.
And also, I've heard that, for people that do smoke, like are habitual smokers, I mean, like smoke every day, their dreams are just in general like suppressed.
Smokers as in tobacco
Oh,
or
sorry for cannabis.
uh the dreams are, yes, because what you're doing is you're disconnecting your consciousness from the other parts of you, right?
Okay.
So when you're smoking weed, um your consciousness is detaching and it's floating. Now, you may find some things out there when you're floating. Uh, I personally don't like it. Okay. I personally would rather be in control of my conscious mind and my subconscious and my soul. Why, Liz? Well, I'll tell you, because when you're just like letting your consciousness float around out there, you can get infiltrated by the dark. You're an easy target. And I don't care how many times you surround yourself with the white light. When you have detached your consciousness from your subconscious and your soul, you're sitting duck. And so what Monroe is saying is that the consciousness is not able to retain or dream properly because of that disconnect.
Okay. Fair enough. So let's move on to some more listener questions here. Do dreams always mean something, or are sometimes they just kind of random?
The dreams always mean something. No, no, not always. Sometimes are they our thoughts? Not necessarily.
Hmm. Whose thoughts would they
Sometimes,
be?
yeah, that's why I was like, okay, whose thoughts am I thinking? What do you mean by they're not always our thoughts? You can connect to thought forms in the universe. So where somebody else is thinking of something or thought of something, that is a residual energy. And you can, oh wow. So it's like bubbles. He's showing me like bubbles, right? So if you think about, like the bubble wand, right? All of us that have kids, we know the bubble wand, right? Because that's all we do is blow, blow, mommy, blow. If you think about bubbles, like lots of thought forms and bubbles everywhere, and when you're dreaming, you're a bubble, and your bubble can connect to another bubble, and then you can like disconnect and go on to another bubble and another bubble. But that's what like thought forms are. They are like bubbles, and you're connecting in. So you may not necessarily be dreaming about your own thoughts. That could be somebody else's thoughts that you're picking up.
So then what would trigger that? Like what would attract me to a bubble? Is it random or is it something specific?
I mean, wholly random, yes. Is it connecting on an energy level? Not necessarily. It's random. Wow, I did not know that.
Okay, what about if I'm in the proximity of someone else? Like, let's say I have a partner that I'm sleeping beside. Are we like interacting in our bubbles?
Yes. Now, I have a story about that. Twice that has happened to me. Once when I was sleeping next to one of my very close friends in London. We'd been out clubbing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we had crashed out on her floor. we it was late. It was like 4 in the morning. And we both woke up screaming about an hour later. And she was like, I just had the most terrible nightmare. I said, I did too. This wolf was trying to eat me and you were there. And she goes, oh my God, the wolf was trying to eat you and I was there. And I was just pointing my finger at the wolf and telling it off. And it bared its teeth at it. And I said, oh my God. We both woke up at the exact same point in the dream and we both had the same dream. So can I ask a question? Why did that happen? Because we had interconnected. So, you know, as you do, we probably had far too much to drink, clubbing in London. And we were still sobering up, I guess. But our bubbles did not travel very far into the universe. So a lot of times he's telling me the bubbles will travel like, out into even into space. Yes, and that's how things can connect you, like sometimes when alien beings come in, sometimes we dream of that, or past life. No, he's telling me no. Okay, not past life. Okay, that's another matter. But our bubbles were very close. They did not leave that room, our consciousness, and it sort of morphed. That's what the bubbles do. When bubbles like morph together?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting. Okay, I think you're biased though, because you're psychic, so you might have a more affinity to pick up on your friends' dreams than the average person. Just
that
joking.
that that's happened to me twice. And then once with my mom. My mom and I had the same dream, even though we were in different rooms. We
Yeah.
had we had the same dream, but then of course my mom was a psychic medium as well. So yeah.
So the next question is, how can we better decipher our dreams?
How can we better? Well, we need to control them, he says. And do we control them with remote viewing? Yes. So you can control your dreams with remote viewing.
Hmm.
But you have to learn remote viewing. And the problem with remote viewing is that people listening to me think, oh, wow, I want to be just like Liz. She makes it look so easy. What they don't realize is that I've been studying it for 10 years and you have to learn the mechanics of it and you have to really put a lot of time and effort into it. But
So,
yeah,
so is it that you're using remote viewing to kind of set the intention that you
yes.
want to decipher your dreams?
Yes, so there's different things you can do here. Okay, what remote viewing means to me as a psychic medium, okay, it means to me you're pinning down space, time, and you're controlling the flow of information instead of it just rapid fire coming in. Okay, you don't even know where it's coming from. You don't know what the target is, and you don't even know what time period it's from, space time. Remote viewing pinpoints all of that down. So let me confirm this with Monroe. If we were to do a remote viewing protocol, yes, what about it? He says, and we set the intention like tonight, I want to go to the pyramids and I want to gather information from the pyramids, possibly talk to beings in the pyramids. And lots of people travel to the pyramids, by the way, in their sleep. So most likely you'll meet other people in the pyramids as well, or other consciousness, and you'll gather information. And then is that how that works? Yes, it is. So that's what you do, but you need to learn to train yourself to do that.
Hmm.
And also, no, I know from the conferences that I've gone to, there's dream groups. So you could have a group of 5 people that, somebody is a tasker, they're double blind, okay? and they issue a target number to the group. Everybody writes down the target number. Everybody does their protocol, and then they go to sleep. And oftentimes they'll train themselves to meet each other on the astral plane and all go to the same destination. And it's quite fascinating to watch their research come out of that.
Yeah, that's incredible. So how about for more like a more personal level? Like you're talking about grabbing just information you want to direct your consciousness to, but what about if we're under the impression that dreams are speaking to us on a personal level, like maybe our body is speaking to us, maybe our higher self is speaking to us. How can we better decipher that message that's trying to be sent, a personal message is trying to be sent for us? I'll give you an example. Like I know that when I dream journal, or even when I speak to someone, if I'm the next morning, if I tell someone my dreams, I seem to have I'll have a light bulb go off and be like, oh, maybe that's what it was meant to be. So is there any better way than that, or is that a successful way to do that?
You can make he's telling me you can make the information more clear, because a lot of time it's garbled, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have things that are serving as metaphors. You have things that are representing other things. You have visitations from other spirits, past life, soul friends,
Mm-hmm.
family members. There's lots of room here for information. And he's saying to me, you have to set the intention to have very clear cut information come through. So if you want to connect with a loved one who has passed on, yes, and you ask them a question, but this takes a lot of work and a lot of training. That's interesting to me because, most of my mom passed away 6 years ago, over 6 years ago. She comes to me in my dreams a lot. And, she'll show me she's funny. And we tend to meet in the same place, which I've talked about extensively, especially in our CTT group that we have every Monday, 9 a.m. Central. If you're not there, you're missing out, I'm telling you. Anyway, so I'm like, how can I get her to tell me things about things that I need to know? And it's about simply asking, right? Asking for the information. And you have to, again, get in just the right frame of your frequency for spirit to enter.
Right.
Because what happens is spirit, when we drop the body and we go into the spirit world, we're just a very small bundle of energy, nothing like what we are here on the earth plane. And what they have to do, even as a medium, people have to, or souls have to come in and they have to plug into my energy field. That's why mediums get so tired, right? That's why when, I'm answering questions after an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm done because
Yeah.
I've had a whole team or a whole slew of people plugging into my energy field. So when you're dreaming, it has to be just the right recipe of frequency and energy so that they can come in, and B, they plug into your energy field to give you that information.
Okay, makes sense. All right, next question. I have experience with this one. Does what we eat and drink close to bedtime affect our dreams?
Ooh, you don't want any food in the stomach, he says, and you don't want anything other than just pure filtered water.
Yeah, I know
I
that.
got a question. A
Okay.
question just
Okay.
came to me.
Sure.
What if we have a glass of water? I love this. I have to ask it. I'm so sorry. What if we have a glass of pure filtered water? Because I know Mr. Photon keeps pure and clean and he's a healthy eater. What if we have a glass of water and we put the intention into the water before we drink it, what we want, right? We write it down like in remote viewing style, but then we also speak that intention into the water and we drink it. Will that help us? Oh my God, yes, it will.
Wow, that's a great question, Liz. That was a great question.
Isn't that cool? So you can actually, you know how you're supposed to drink water before bedtime anyway, because of the heart and the blood and the thickening and blah blah. Wow. So you're just solidifying that intention by speaking into it. Needs to be a glass. Don't have it in plastic or anything like that. It really. Now, I got another question. What if it's a full moon and we have our filtered water and we set it out in the full moon to be electrically charged? We ask the moon to charge our water. Then we speak the intention in, and then we drink it. Kapow, he just said.
Right. So that's more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could, so in the previous, water scripts that we pre-probed, I think we came up with like, we want to command the water. So it'd be something like, I command this water with the intention to remember my dreams or whatever it is. That would be the correct line of.
What would be the correct line? To have clarity. So you really want clear-cut messages from loved ones in spirit, right? Because if you just say, I need messages, hey, the dark will come and give you all the messages you could possibly ever want. And you don't want that. Because then they'll like that, and then they'll infiltrate, and then they like to come talk to you. No, you want to always make sure you're very specific. So loved ones in spirit, a white light, beings, and you would put that into the water. So I need clear-cut information from white light, loved ones in spirit regarding this question.
Okay, so let's do this then. How about I command this water with love and gratitude to offer me clear-cut information from loved ones in spirit. Does that sound good?
It's excellent. Yes. So if you just want them to bring you any, message through, you can leave it open like that. But if you want something more pinpointed, you can then give your question into that water as well. And how soon after we do that? We need to drink it immediately.
Right. Well, we got before that it takes 15 minutes to structure the water. Is that the same case here?
Is that the same case here? Not necessarily. He's saying no.
Okay.
When you mean structure the water, is that with like frequencies or?
Yeah, like when we're speaking to the water and sending intention to the water.
Do we need to keep saying it? No, he's of the mindset we don't need to keep saying it. Of course, that's his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinion, but he says it would work just as well.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't talking about saying it continuously. I was just saying like you say it and then you wait 15 minutes before consuming for the structure to form.
He says drink it immediately.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to argue with him. All right. Well, let's make a part 2 because we're only halfway through the questions, and I think this will be better for the algorithm to pick us up. So we're going to do a part 2 for our Patreon members. And so you can become a Patreon member too for just a couple dollars a month. And we have a galore of other videos that you're not seeing on YouTube. Can you let them know how they get over there?
Yeah, it's patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond. We have a lot of good fun. And like I said, you need to like and subscribe the CTT channel. And if you're not doing CTT, you're missing out. Wait till we do our Hollywood probe, Mr. Photon. Do you know I have Hollywood A-listers that do CTT? And when I say, can you share with your friends? They say, absolutely not. Because they're so competitive, they want to keep the CTT all to themselves. They think it gives them such an edge above everyone else, and they keep it as the best kept secret in Hollywood. But yes, I do have some A-listers on my books, and they won't tell a soul.
Well, yeah, that's the deal. Got to keep it close to the heart if you're an athlete or a competitive person, unfortunately. But we're not keeping any secret here, so come join us.
All right, we'll stop this one here. Thank you very much.